I want us to think about, how do you help organizations authentically back into change and leaving behind the constraints of who they think they are?
Yeah, no, great. Another great question. I think it starts first with, I always tell organizations and tell leaders that if you think that technology is going to solve your problem, you truly don't understand your problem. Because technology is not the solver of the problem. The technology is the enabler for what it is that you want to achieve. So if an organization thinks that we go out and now everybody's going out and buying AI tools. If you think that you're going to go out and buy an AI tool and somehow, some way, your organization is going to magically become something else because you have this new tool, it's probably unlikely that that is going to happen. So what leaders and organizations have to really think about is going back to, what is the people impact that we're looking for, and what impact do the people have on this change or transformation, and how do they fit in there? And then being able to say, how does the technology enable the people to do what we need them to do, whether it is allowing them to have full transparency, allowing them to be able to access things seamlessly, being able to look at dashboards and reports, but into where they could manage and lead better, so because they have things at their fingertips. So really being focused on what experience are we looking for the technology to bring to the table for the people is where I lead individuals to, and less focused on the technology itself. I always say technology should not be the star of the show of your transformation. The people should be. And if you're hanging your hat on, we're going out and we're bringing in Workday, we're bringing in Epic, we're bringing in this big technology, and then later on down the line you say, oh well, now let me see how the people fit into this. It doesn't make for a successful transformation, a successful amount of change. And so that's one way. The other thing that I often see organizations do is, and especially when you think about these new systems like Workday, like Epic, is they often go through the process of saying, how can we take what we've done for the past 20 or 30 years and put it and shove it into this new system? And you end up with business processes that are inefficient, that aren't streamlined, and often what I call a very expensive paperweight, because you're not getting what you need out of the tool itself, because you haven't designed it in a way that it needs to be, versus starting with a blank sheet of paper and saying, what's the experience that we want to create for the end user, and the end user not only being the employee, but also the customer or the patient on the other end, to say, how can we design this in a way that is user-friendly, accessible for all, and allows the individual to get what they need at the point of contact at the right time, versus how do I take everything that we've done for the last 30 years and make it working here? The same way you can't take an 8-track and put it on Spotify and say play. It just doesn't work. You have to be able to take the music and reformat it in a way to where it now works on a new platform. And so getting leaders and organizations to really sort of let go of these last 30 years of business processes that probably haven't served us well, and look at things in a new way is what I often do. And one of the catchphrases, and I'm sure any of your listeners that are listening to this podcast now, I can guarantee at some point in their career, and probably even yesterday, they heard the term, well, we can't change this because it's too complex. It's too complex. We can't change this. We can't change this thing because it's too complex. And my rebuttal to that is always, is it too complex or is it inefficient? Because those are very two different things. Complexity and efficiencies are very two different things. Neurosurgery is complex. That's complex. Having an efficient valet service at the hospital is not complex. It's probably designed inefficiently. And so how do we break down the barriers between what's truly complex versus what's inefficient is also a way to help get leaders and organizations to move forward, because we'll often hide behind the veil of complexity as a rationale to not do something or change something.
Oh my gosh, I just took a ton of notes and I hope everyone else is too. Tech is not always the solve. I think that's huge. And then even like, what experience are we solving for? And I think your analogy, and when you talked about that business process optimization, That is exactly what happens. It happens everywhere. Like anytime you're taking your old systems, and this is really prevalent in the TA process. And then even when we think about like an AI is going to be a solver of it, and it's like, no, AI is going to enable a ton of different options and opportunities. But unless you have people that know how to prompt it or know how to operationalize it or optimize it, it's a waste of money, right? So it's about what that change looks like. And I loved, though, how you just followed that up. And it kind of comes full circle again when we talk about that pride of ownership, right? Because those processes and hospitals and medicine is they're rooted in like very formalized structures, and there's a pride along with that.